Hello, this is Cynthia Dowdett with Session 2 of the Book of Revelation. As we looked at in Session 1, we see that there is a promise of a blessing to those who study and read the Book of Revelation. You know, one of the things that we need to do when we study any book in the Bible is cross the bridge back into the time, culture, content, and context of which it was written. And thus we need to do that and have some understanding of the book of Revelation and the 7 churches to which John sent the letter to each church, as well as the rest of the vision of the book of Revelation. Timelines of dates and events are important when we study the Bible and history in general. Dates set the stage, the who, what, when, where, and why. People groups, the rulers, the living conditions, and the laws. It's very important that we understand what was going on with the people in the Bible at the time it was written, and also the background of these churches and the timeline of which John was writing the revelation of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, and his second coming. Without recorded history of the above, we are left without a complete picture. We won't have facts. We won't know the issues of the time and the people. We won't have a filter, a proper filter to look at the events that they were understanding as their background of what was going on. We would be left to fill in the blanks from our own mind and imagination and filter it or rewrite it in our own time frame if we did not have the Bible, as well as some of the historical aspects in the writing to help us understand culture, content, and the way the people lived, the who, what, when, where, and why, the laws, the rulers, the people groups, and the living conditions. It is very dangerous when we cancel out history. It is very dangerous and not a realistic choice. We didn't live in the time of the Bible. And so we need history to help us understand what was going on. We need the Bible to help us understand what was going on from the beginning of time. If we don't have history, if we cancel out not just the Bible, but if we cancel out our history, we will not have the correct view of the past and what the people were going through. If we cancel the culture, if we cancel history, it is not a wise thing to do. And you know, even God says, do not add to this book and do not subtract from this book. We find creation and we find the second coming. Revelation shows us the setting of the stage for the Akarit Hayamin, for the end of days. And as we read from Genesis to Revelation, we can see the history of mankind. And when we read Antiochus Epiphanes' story, when we read the different Alexander the Great, when we read the different stories in history, it helps us to understand the who, what, when, where, and why, and also see what is coming in the book of Revelation. Revelation reveals to us the coming days and events, and also the backbone of the book of Revelation. We see the central character is Messiah Yeshua. The events are lining up to introduce the world players. I've been surprised at what I have seen. What I had thought of in the past is not what I have had imagined as coming to pass. And I'm sure there will even be more surprises, but the scene is being set. It is as if the curtain is going up and the players are taking their place. They are, I will say, reading for the part that they want on the world stage. The world players are being introduced, and some are still reading for the parts, and the parts are yet to be named. But much like Pharaoh to the God of the Hebrews, the one true God, through plagues and control of climate and nature and death, the one true God is going to come on the scene, and the things that man thinks that he is about to control will be totally out of his control, because God, King, Creator of the universe, is in charge of climate control. He is in charge of the hail, the windstorms, the locusts, everything, and he is in charge of death. Climate change is coming, and all the bringing together of the nations and money and taxes and rules will not change this book or God. No matter what the nations come together and decide as far as climate control and change. And I tell you, I am all for taking care of the earth and not polluting. But man is fooling himself when he thinks that he can set up rules and regulations and tax countries and people in order to control the climate. I think God just laughs in heaven, because ultimately they will see when the 70, and some of the versions of the Bible say 70-pound hailstones and some say 100-pound hailstones. But they're going to be great hailstones mixed with fire and blood. And all the climate change people, none of that is going to affect what God has set forth in the book of Revelation as what is going to take place in the tribulation and the great tribulation of the 3.5 years, last years of the 7 years. The book of Revelation is relevant, more so to us today than ever before. Our days are fast approaching what is written in this book. This book is meant to be an encouragement to the believer in Yeshua HaMashiach. He is our Redeemer. He is our deliverer. He is the one who has already won the victory. He will redeem his people. He will deliver his people. He will bring judgment and vindication on those that have oppressed, burdened, and brought death to his people. Whether it be death of the believer's business, their reputation, their ability to provide for their family, or the actual killing and beheading of the believers in the end time, they will be vindicated. One might say the great I Am will. He will do all he says he will do, and he will do all he said he would do. God is true to his word. I hope you'll stay tuned for session 3 as we delve a little more into this character and the revealing of Yeshua Jesus, the Messiah, and the players that are going to come on the scene. Have a blessed day and join me again. Shalom, shalom.